Hello friends, this video on biological classification part 10 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Let's start with the chrysophytes. So let us see what are they. First, understand the name chrysophytes. So the name consists of two parts, chryso and phytes. Chryso means gold. Chryso is a Greek word which means gold and phytes means plants. So golden plants basically fall under the category of chrysophytes. So diatoms and golden algae fall under this group. So chryso is gold, phytes is plants. So golden plants, that is golden algae and diatoms. So even why diatoms fall under this group? Because if you look at the diatoms, even they have got some yellowish color. However, some of the diatoms are also colorless, but if colored, they are around yellowish in color. So these are plant-like protists. So they appearance-wise, they are quite similar to plants. So they are called plant-like protists. If you talk about their structure, they contain several pigments like chlorophyll, carotene and xanthophylls. Now chlorophyll is the pigment which gives it a greenish tint and also which helps it to perform photosynthesis. And that is why they are plant-like, because even plants have chlorophyll. Carotene is the one which gives them this color. I mean, you see this red color, yellow color, right? So that is because of the presence of these pigments like carotene and xanthophylls. They have a rigid cell wall made of pectin or cellulose or silica. So it depends. Some organisms' cell wall will be made up of pectin, some cellulose, some silica. So it again varies from one organism to another. But they have a rigid cell wall. Now, these organisms can exist as filaments, that means as thread-like structures, or they can also exist in groups, in colonies. If you talk about their habitat, they are aquatic, found in water. Now, this water can be fresh water as well as marine. It is found in ocean, seas, as well as in the freshwater lakes. Float passively on water. It has the capability of swimming freely on the surface of water. Now, as I said, since they contain chlorophyll, so they perform photosynthesis. So they need light for their survival. So adequate light should be present for, for survival of these chrysophytes. Talk about nutrition. They are mostly photosynthetic due to the presence of chlorophyll. Now, these diatoms which are present in the oceans, they are the main producers of food in ocean. Because in ocean, most of the other aquatic animals are heterotrophs. They depend on other for food. So diatoms being producers, they become the main source of food for all other organisms in ocean. Now, one important thing to note here is that we all know that plants also prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. But in plants, the food is stored in the form of starch. But in case of diatoms, the food is stored in the form of oil. That is another important feature of diatoms. Now, most of them are photosynthetic. However, there are few diatoms which are heterotrophic, eating small bacteria. So, some of them feed on other organisms. Now, talking about reproduction, mostly they undergo asexual reproduction. Very less sexual reproduction is seen in chrysophytes. Now, talking about, so these are some of the basic characteristics or features of the diatoms and golden brown algae which fall under chrysophytes. Now, if I talk about the structure of the cell wall in case of diatoms, I should talk something more because there is something interesting and important associated with the cell walls of diatoms. And that is diatomaceous earth. So again, a new term. So let us see what it is. Now, when I talk about diatoms, as I said, the cell walls are very rigid. In case of chrysophytes, they are made up of pectin or cellulose or silica. In diatoms, their cell walls are made up of silica. And the cell walls are so strong that they cannot be destroyed at all. So what happens is that even if the diatoms die, their cell walls deposits remain in their habitat. So in due course of time, the population of diatoms keep changing. I mean, the old organisms keep dying, new organisms keep coming up. But the cell walls of all the organisms keep accumulating. So as a result, so much of silica deposits happen. So this large amount of cell wall deposits form diatomaceous earth because it forms almost a layer on the earth. So much of deposits actually happen. So this is known as diatomaceous earth. It is accumulation of cell wall deposits of diatoms over several years form diatomaceous earth. This is something very, very important. Now, when you talk about the cell wall, now the question is, how is the cell wall of diatoms so very strong that they are almost indestructible? That is because when you look at the cell walls of diatoms, it is not a single wall. It is basically two thin shell-like structures which fit together on each other. Like if you see a box in your house, maybe a tiffin box, how does the lid of the tiffin box fits over the box? It gets fit very nicely, right? So similarly, the two thin shells fit together to form the cell wall of a diatoms. Now these shells are made up of silica, which is very rigid and very strong. As a result, they are indestructible. So even if the organisms die, it gets deposited as it is in the habitat. So here in this picture, you can look at the diatoms. So here if you see these structures, right? So these structures basically show the two shells which actually form that case-like structure in case of a diatom. So one at the top like this and the other one at the below like this. So these are the diatoms. Now over a period of time, since so much of deposits actually happen, they can be crumbled into fine white powder. So this is how the diatomaceous earth look like if they are crumbled into in powdered form. So this is how the diatomaceous earth will look like. And surprisingly, this diatomaceous earth is also edible. People do eat diatomaceous earth, which is composed of almost 85% of silica. So a very high concentration of silica. So some people who eat diatomaceous earth in the form of this powder, they say that it improves the digestive system and therefore helps an organism to absorb nutrients better. So it is something which is healthy. These particles also have very high porosity, that is, they are porous particles. Now, some of the applications or uses of diatomaceous earth are filtration of oils and syrups, polishing in toothpastes. Now, why is it used in polishing and toothpaste? Because if you look at the quality of this powder, it is little harsh and rough. So, whenever you have something which is little harsh and rough, it actually helps in cleaning things, right? It actually helps in polishing things. You would have seen a scrubber. Many people use a scrubber for while taking bath. Why? Because if that scrubber is little rough and harsh, so when you rub it with that scrubber, it helps to clean your body, or a scrubber to clean your clothes for during washing clothes. You also have a facial scrub, which many people put it over their face in order to get rid of small whiteheads or pimples which they have on their face. So all these things are abrasive in nature. So that harsh and rough finishing of any object is known as abrasive. So abrasive is the term for that. Now this diatomaceous earth is also abrasive in nature, and because of that it is used in toothpastes, in facial scrubs. It is also used for pest control. And that is why it helps in grain storage in agriculture. How it helps in pest control? This diatomaceous earth absorbs lipid from the waxy outer layer of insects. So if you, what are pests? Pests are nothing but these insects which are shown on the screen. Now, the outer layer of their body is nothing but cuticle. right? Cuticle is nothing but the waxy outer layer of insects. So this diatomaceous earth being porous, it absorbs the lipid from this waxy outer layer. Now when it takes out the liquid, or when it snatches out the wax from there, or lipid from there, what happens? It becomes dry. So the insects start losing the moisture, so it dehydrates, and therefore the insects die. So that is how it helps in pest control. Since it helps in pest control, therefore it is helpful in storing grains in agriculture, because after agriculture, wherever the farmers store their grains, what happens? There are big chances of pests being there, right? So the grains might get spoiled. So if you put some diatomaceous earth there, it will help in killing the pests, and therefore will be advantageous for grain storage in agriculture. So these are some of the important uses of diatomaceous earth. So with this, we will go. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more videos, attempt free online test, get free study material, find tutors and mentors. Thank you once again.